So when you're buying a new construction home in the Inland Empire or Orange County, the most dangerous room in a new construction sales process isn't the model home, it's the design center. When you sit down with the builder's design consultant, they treat the experience like a retail shopping spree. You're handed a catalog of premium flooring, gorgeous waterfall quartz islands, and structural add-ons. But the design center is not a retail store, it is a highly engineered profit center where the builder extracts their largest margins on you. And the danger of the design center is not just that you might overpay for cabinet hardware. The real danger is that you do not strictly calculate your upgrade budget against your loan approval limits, and you can easily overimprove the home, and that could cost you the loan. So when you overimprove a new construction home, the house may fail to appraise, and it can completely destroy your mortgage qualification potentially weeks before closing. So today, we're going to break down the exact math of the design center trap. We are going to cover why neither structural nor cosmetic upgrades guarantee a return on investment, and how the appraisal gap works, and the exact budgetary formula you need to use to protect your loan. So I am Steve Enchin, your Southern California new construction home expert, and every week I help folks just like you find and buy brand new homes with less money and less stress. So remember to call or text me your questions about buying new homes. Now, let's start with the belief that gets buyers into trouble more than anything else in the design center, and it's the one that feels completely logical until you understand how home valuation actually works. So, when a buyer sits down in the design center, the mental math usually goes something like this. The base price of the home is $700,000. They decide to add $80,000 in upgrades. So in their mind, they're building a $780,000 home, and they assume that when all is said and done, that home is worth $780,000. But that assumption is wrong, and it can be extremely expensive to be wrong about that assumption. So here's the reality. It doesn't matter whether you're selecting cosmetic upgrades, luxury vinyl plank flooring, a cosmetic tile backsplash, upgraded lighting fixtures, structural upgrades like a fourth bedroom, extending your California room, or adding a loft space. Neither category automatically translates into increased market value. The amount you spend at the design center and the value those upgrades add to the home, two completely separate numbers, and they rarely match. The reason is straightforward. The value of your home is not determined by what the builder charges you for materials and labor. It's determined entirely by the comparable sales in that specific neighborhood. What did similar homes in that community actually sell for? And that's the number that matters to the bank. And that's the ceiling your appraiser is working from. So let's make this concrete. Let's say the highest comparable sale in your subdivision has closed at $750,000. That's the top of the market in that community right now. If you take your $700,000 base price home, load it up with $80,000 in design center upgrades, you now have a $780,000 contract price, but you've built a $780,000 home in a neighborhood where nothing has sold above $750,000. The bank's appraiser doesn't care how beautiful that waterfall quartz island is. They look at the neighborhood data, and if they cap the value of your home at what the market has actually demonstrated it will support, everything above that ceiling is in the appraiser's analysis just money you spent that the market won't give you back. So let's walk through exactly what happens when the math doesn't work. You signed your contract at $780,000. You paid the builder's earnest money deposit, and you paid the important non-refundable design center deposit to lock in your upgrade selections. 8 months go by, the home is nearly finished, and your lender sends out the appraiser to establish the home's market value before funding the loan. The appraiser looks at the sales data. The neighborhood ceiling is, remember, that $750,000. They come back with an appraised value of $750,000, $30,000 below your contract price. So here's the problem. Your lender will only finance the loan based on the appraised value, not the price you agreed to pay in the contract. The bank will not lend you money based on a value the market doesn't support. So now there's an appraisal gap. That's the difference between what you owe the builder and what the bank will lend you. So when the builder's not going to reduce the price to close that gap, you signed a contract agreeing to $780,000. That contract is enforceable. So what are your options? You either come up with a difference in cash on top of the original down payment and closing costs, which may already be fairly substantial, or the deal can fall apart and you could lose your deposit. And if you don't have that additional cash available, your debt to income ratio no longer works. Your loan approval may be revoked and you cannot close on the home you've been waiting on for the better part of a year. And it gets worse from there, because if the loan falls through, the builder's contract is not designed to protect you, it's designed to protect them. So when you make your selections at the design center, most builders require a deposit up front, typically somewhere between 20% and 50% of the total upgrade cost. So that deposit is collected separately from your earnest money, and the contract language around it is unambiguous. It's non-refundable. So if you can't cover the appraisal gap and you can't close escrow and you have to walk away from the deal, the builder keeps your earnest money deposit and every single dollar of your design center deposit, both gone. And what they do with the home, well, they list it as a quick move-in property, you sell it to the next buyer. And that's with all of your custom selections already installed. So that is exactly why the design center experience needs to be approached as a risk management exercise and not as an interior design appointment. The builder's design consultant is not there to protect your loan. Their job is to maximize what you spend in that room and get a really nice looking home, and they are very good at it. Their catalog is curated. The model home is staged with every premium option available. The whole environment is engineered to make spending feel exciting rather than consequential. So to protect yourself, you have to know the neighborhood's appraisal ceiling before you sit down in that room. And you have to track every dollar you're considering against your maximum loan approval limit in real time. So this is one of the clearest examples of why the type of representation you bring into the new construction process matters so much, because a builder's design consultant is not working in your financial interest. That's not a criticism, it's just the way it is. It's the structure of their role. And if you bring a general real estate agent who doesn't specialize in new construction, the design center visit often becomes more of like a style consultation than a financial analysis. Someone helping you decide whether the white oak flooring pairs better with a black cabinet finish. That's not protecting your loan. So a fiduciary operates from a completely different starting point. So before a client of mine sits down at the design center, we've already requested the most recent closing prices in that specific builder phase. We've established a mathematical guideline for the upgrade budget, a number that's tied to what the neighborhood will actually support and not what the catalog makes look appealing. And that's alongside with what the lender has pre-approved you for, the buyer. So if the data says we can absorb $35,000 in upgrades before we start risking our appraisal gap, we set that as a firm line and we don't cross it. So within that budget, we also prioritize strategically. There's certain upgrades like structural changes, things that are either too invasive or too expensive to do after you move in. And those are the ones that are worth spending on through the builder, because the alternative is a major renovation project later. So pre-wiring for a home theater, adding another bedroom, selecting countertops and cabinets, those can make sense depending on the numbers. What we cut out is the high margin cosmetic builder markup, the cabinet hardware, the upgraded paint, the premium appliances, sometimes the flooring. So the things that you can source and install yourself for a fraction of what the builder charges later, and that's without touching your appraisal ceiling. So the goal is protect your loan first, design your home second, in that order. So everything we just talked about, the appraisal ceiling, the upgrade budget, the non-refundable deposits, none of it is information the builder's team is going to walk you through proactively. They're not hiding it. It's not their job to protect your financial position. It's their job to sell the home. So that means if you walk into that sales office without representation already in place, you're navigating that design center appointment on your own against a team that runs this process every single day. So Don't do that to yourself. If you're planning to look at new construction anywhere in Southern California, text or call me before you go. Before that model home visit, before that registration card, before any of it, send me your target city and we can look at the current new construction options and pricing before you choose a community to visit. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next video.